I think the challenge as the advisor is once we start to learn and understand that they think differently and they see things differently, now I have to shift my approach. And instead of just thinking, what information do I want to communicate? That's important. Now I have to figure out, how do I communicate? I mean, how do we approach that?
That's a great question. I'll answer that by telling you a story. So one of my very first education sessions that I did when I was on the retirement side, I told you earlier, I was on wealth management originally. And I was up there doing my education session, trying to get people to defer more into the 401k. And, I'm pretty engaging. I move my hands a lot. I walk around and I looked out and this was 3 different shifts. And these were like mill workers, right? And it was a full house. I'm like, oh, wow, they're all here to see me. No, they were there for the donuts and the coffee, but that's whatever it took, they were there. So I was psyched. And so I'm up there and I'm doing my thing and I'm looking out at the sea of like blank faces. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm missing something here. And so afterwards I walked around and I was talking to people and, trying to get them to defer more in. And they're like, Holly, I am trying to figure out which bill to pay this month because I'm in debt. And, I just kept hearing that same theme. And I went back to my boss and it really shook me up. And I went back to my boss and I'm like, we're having the wrong conversation. Like I can't talk to people about tomorrow money if they're struggling today. This is where we need to kind of shift that focus. And he's like, that's not your job. Your job is to go in there and talk about the 401k. And I'm like, you're right. This is not my job. And so I left. But that's always been, for me, it's like when you're sitting there and people are really struggling, we can't help them by just giving them, here's your formula to get you to that end goal if they're struggling with so many competing priorities.